The World Cup, the greatest stage on earth, where legends are born and legacies are defined. But what happens when the final whistle blows forever? Today, we look at 10 of football's greatest icons, where they were at their last World Cup and where they are now. Number 10, Ronaldo R9. He was called the phenomenon, and he proved exactly why. Ronaldo had survived seizures, knee surgeries, and public humiliation. Doctors said he was finished. But in Japan and South Korea, he was reborn. In the World Cup final against Germany, he scored twice, celebrating with that iconic funnel haircut that the whole world laughed at, then copied. Brazil were champions. Ronaldo was unstoppable. He looked like he would rule football forever. Today, Ronaldo carries a different weight. Not the weight of expectation, but of health battles that have tested him deeply. He owns football clubs, supports Brazilian football, and still carries that enormous smile wherever he goes. The body slowed, the legend never did. Number 9, Zinedine Zidane. Berlin, the World Cup final, France against Italy. Zidane, the greatest player of his generation, was playing the last professional match of his life. He had already scored a stunning penalty. He was majestic, unstoppable. And then came the moment that stopped the world. A headbutt, a red card, silence. The greatest player on earth walked off that pitch forever, not to applause, but to disbelief. It was heartbreaking. It was Zidane. But redemption came wearing a different badge. As Real Madrid manager, Zidane won 3 consecutive Champions League titles, something no manager had ever achieved. The man who left in shame returned as a god. Today, he waits for his next challenge, and the footballing world waits with him. Number 8, David Beckham. England's golden generation, perhaps their last real chance at glory. Beckham had carried his nation's hopes for nearly a decade on that famous right foot. Free kicks that defied physics, crosses that found teammates like guided missiles. But against Portugal in the quarterfinals, England fell again. Beckham wept on the touchline, a warrior saying goodbye to a dream he never got to fulfill. Today, Beckham is an empire. Inter Miami, fashion, global ambassador. He brought Lionel Messi, the greatest player alive, to his club. The boy from East London built a footballing dynasty in America. Not bad for a kid who just wanted to bend it. Shock 7, Xavi. Spain arrived as back-to-back world champions, the greatest international team ever assembled, and Xavi was their heartbeat, their metronome. The man who made time stand still with a football at his feet. But Spain crashed out in the group stage. A dynasty ended overnight. And Xavi, dignified as always, walked quietly away from the world stage. The pupil became the master. Xavi returned to Barcelona as manager, trying to rebuild the club he had defined as a player. It was never easy. But watching him on that touchline, the same intelligence burns in his eyes. Some men are simply born to lead. Shock 6, Andres Iniesta. He scored the most important goal in Spanish football history. Extra time. The World Cup final. Iniesta. Goal! A nation erupted. And 4 years later in Brazil, he said goodbye to the World Cup the only way Iniesta knew how. Quietly, humbly, with complete dignity. No drama, no fuss. Just a genius bowing out gracefully. After football, Iniesta moved to Japan, embracing a new culture, a slower life. He owns a vineyard, he paints, he breathes. Away from the roar of the crowd, the quiet genius finally found his quiet life. Shock 5, Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard, 106 goals from Chelsea from midfield. One of the most complete footballers England ever produced. But the World Cup always cruelly escaped him. His final chance came, and England fell at the group stage again. Lampard's international career ended without the trophy his extraordinary talent deserved. It remains one of English football's great injustices. Management cold. Chelsea, Everton, Coventry. The road has not always been smooth, but Lampard keeps learning, keeps adapting, keeps going. Because that is what champions do. The goals stopped. The hunger never did. Shock 4. Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard, Liverpool's greatest warrior, England's captain, a man who could change a game through pure force of will. The World Cup was supposed to be his moment, his chance to prove himself on the biggest stage. But then came the slip against Uruguay. The ball rolled away. England were out, and Gerrard's World Cup dream died quietly in the Brazilian heat. It was one of football's most painful moments. Gerrard moved into management, Rangers, Aston Villa, Saudi Arabia. The road has not always been smooth. But nobody who watched him play doubts his passion or his knowledge. He gave everything as a player. Now he gives everything as a leader.
Number 3. Miroslav Klose, the Maracana. Miroslav Klose arrived needing just one goal to become the greatest World Cup scorer of all time. He got it. 16 goals. A record that may never be broken. And then Germany did the unthinkable. They beat Brazil 7-1 in their own country, in front of their own fans. Klose lifted the World Cup. The perfect ending to the most perfect World Cup career in history. Klose disappeared from the spotlight as quietly as he had always lived in it. No headlines, no drama. He moved into coaching, working his way up patiently, humbly. The record scorer who never needed the glory, just the game. Number 2, Diego Forlan. South Africa. Uruguay, a tiny nation of just 3 million people, reached the semi-finals of the World Cup. And carrying them there was Diego Forlan. Powerful, elegant, ice cold in front of goal. He won the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, a single man carrying an entire nation on his boots. After football, Forlan did something nobody expected. He became a professional tennis player, competing in real tournaments, training every day. Because for some people, one sport is simply never enough. Today, he lives completely on his own terms. Football gave him glory. Tennis gave him freedom. Number 1, Gianluigi Buffon. The World Cup final. Italy versus France. Buffon stood in goal like an immovable mountain. Shot after shot, save after save. Italy won on penalties, and Buffon, their captain, their wall, their heartbeat, lifted the World Cup. The greatest goalkeeper of his generation had reached the very top of the game. It was perfect. Buffon played professional football until he was 45 years old. 45. When most men his age were watching from their sofas, Buffon was still saving shots. He finally retired not because he lost his love for the game, but because some stories deserve a perfect ending. And his was perfect. 10 legends, 10 last dances on the world's greatest stage. Some left with trophies, some left with tears. But every single one gave us moments we will never forget. The World Cup doesn't just create champions, it creates immortals. Which of these legends was your favorite? Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do.